Hey guys, welcome back to LS Vintage Design. How are you doing? It is Wednesday and very dark and gloomy outside. It's been raining for 3 days. Not fun, and it's cold again. Crazy weather, I tell you. Today though, we are here to talk about a fun, kind of happy topic, celebrating with vintage, whether that means vintage gifts or a vintage celebration, or vintage like. So let's just jump into this video because I have a lot awesome ideas for you. Before we do though, I want to say don't forget, check out my Etsy shop. I have a lot of great items over there. I'm going to go out probably this weekend and hunt for some more, but I still have that beautiful 1970s Afghan in there. And now that canister, the red canister set sold, I told you guys it wasn't going to last. That beautiful glass chip and dip bowl still there, but with Mother's Day coming, guys, you're going to want to grab that because it's a big deal. Anyway, let's just jump into today's video and talk about how you can use vintage for gifts or just to create an awesome celebration. Okay. Well, first, I'm going to start with the celebration itself. How can you work vintage in or make the whole thing vintage? It just depends. What kind of celebration do you want to have? I'm going to start with some pretty obvious celebrations like birthdays, anniversaries, Mother's Day because that's coming up. But then I'll move into some other types like maybe 4th of July, or maybe asking your girls to be your bridesmaids, maybe a baby shower. So all these ideas will translate, and of course you can pick and choose little parts for any type of celebration. And when we do celebrations, this is sold. When we do celebrations, a lot of times, depending on if it's a birthday, anniversary, if it's a baby shower, wedding shower, Mother's Day, we want to have a beautiful table setting or table settings. And on those table settings, inevitably, we always have at least one floral arrangement, whether living or fake. Vintage is great for fake or living depending on what the vintage receptacle is. Now I've showed you this bowl several times and I've told you this would make a gorgeous flower setting, would make a gorgeous flower arrangement. It's glass, so you could use real or fake flowers in it. You could have a bigger bouquet in the bottom part and a smaller bouquet in the top part. This wood container that just went into my shop last week, you can't really do real because of the moisture, but you could do a beautiful silk arrangement or fake flowers, whatever you want to call them. And this would look gorgeous on a table as well. Especially there is a resurgence of boho coming back. So you could combine definitely wood, natural elements are very boho. They're also very minimalist and Japandi. All those styles like natural elements. So if you are having a more natural, laid back theme to any celebration, wood is great. And this would make a great fake flower bouquet. You could also combine some natural elements like these rattan. They could be pot holders, dish holders on a table. They could be wall art. I like to use them for wall art, but you could certainly use them for what they were meant for, which is on a table. And could you see a table decorated with a bunch of these and with the natural wood element? That would be a beautiful table setting. Have your other serving pieces be glass to complement the natural elements, and it would be chef's kiss of a vintage looking table. And you're also mixing vintage with modern, which I think is the best way to go. And I have these in the shop. I have 2 big ones, and I think I have 4 of the little ones. Excellent for tables. I also have a couple of these different little baskets here, and these would be great. Again, you could put condiments on these. You could put rolled silverware in one, stuff like that. These would also be awesome for 4th of July. And for 4th of July, I have a bunch of these where you just get those little paper plates that are real paper, not the coated ones, the real paper ones. You put them in these, and then people can take these, eat. They don't have to worry about their plates flopping, with the barbecue or hamburgers. These were great for Mother's Day too. All of this, again, could be interchangeable. If you're having a baby shower or a wedding shower and the bride or the mother-to-be is very much boho, you could set up a very natural table setting. Oh, let me get this out of the way. Sorry. You could set up a very natural table setting like this. It is a wood tray from Target. It's some moss and different mushrooms and a rabbit. You could switch the rabbit out. I put a rabbit because rabbits are in nature, not because of Easter. It's very boho, and look how good that all looks together. And then you throw in the baskets on the table as well. And then I have a modern tablecloth with it. So this would be a cool look, and you could translate this across birthday, Mother's Day, wedding shower, baby shower, just an evening with the girls, and you're having taco night or something, okay? So you can mix modern elements like the tablecloth and the table setting centerpiece with vintage pieces. I could put flowers in this and put it at one end and have this here. I could put silverware rolled in this with straws or with paper straws and everything in here. Whatever you want to do. There's tons of uses. You just have to tap in to your inner Martha Stewart. Now, most celebrations include food, whether you buy it, cater it, or you do it yourself. If you do it yourself, especially Mother's Day, 4th of July, something that's going to be really big, and you're going to have like burger buns toasted and you want to keep them warm, or rolls or something, vintage serving pieces like these bun warmers are awesome. These are also, you can put water in the bottom. They come with little metal baskets. You can put water in the bottom to steam. They're called warming ovens. So there's a lot of uses, but you could also put an ice layer in the bottom, and put little fruits and vegetables in your tray here. Especially if you live somewhere where it's obnoxiously hot when your event's going on. So those are some ideas for serving, decorating your table, that sort of thing. Now, other ideas for creating a celebration using vintage are definitely to tap into the vintage glasses, teacups, depending on, who it's for and what they like. Vintage teacups, if you're having, say, a Mother's Day get-together for mom or grandmother, and they used to have tea parties when they were little. What fun would it be to host a tea party for them now? And you can get vintage teacups, teapots. Let me show you. You can get vintage teacups, teapots, and sets don't have to match. In fact, I do vintage tea parties, and that's one of the things. None of my teacups, none of my teapots, my creamers and sugars, none of them match. And that's the charm of doing a vintage celebration. So you could actually reach out to me if you're in the North Texas, East Texas area, and we could talk about planning a tea party for your celebration. But if not, if you're up north, west, or far east of me and you want to host one, go to your antique mall and get what you need. And that would be a really cool thing to do for mom, grandma, sister, if they're into, anybody into vintage would love a vintage tea party. And it's a great way to celebrate somebody. But remember, we're not talking kitschy, like Halloween type decor parties. We're talking very tasteful, very well done. That's going to bring back maybe childhood memories. And in that same vein, my grandmother used to talk about going to church and then bidding on pies and then having a picnic. So what if you did that? Your grandmother had sort of the same memories. You could go find some vintage quilts at an antique mall, spread them out on your lawn or at a park, put picnic lunches in boxes. You can get boxes off Amazon, pack the lunches, tie them up, and then people could grab their lunch and go sit with family on these quilts. Or you could put all the quilts together into a huge area and everybody could sit together. A vintage picnic is great for celebrations, also for 4th of July. I mean, that's one of the oldest holidays out there, right? So there is a lot of ways. Now, what if you were just doing something small in your backyard and you wanted to celebrate, maybe you wanted to have your best girls over and you wanted to celebrate asking them to be bridesmaids and maid of honor. What could you do? Well, you could do a vintage iced tea, lemonade, adult beverages with matching glasses. These are also available. Most antique malls you can find something, and they don't have to match. You could find a glass pitcher and then different glasses. Whatever your vibe or your feel you're going for, you could do that. Again, anything outside or inside any celebration. Okay, now we've talked about the actual celebration, how you could add vintage touches to it. What about gifts? What could you do for vintage gifts? And again, the options are endless. Maybe grandma does talk about tea parties from when she was little, or maybe she had them as a young lady. Maybe take a vintage teapot and have a custom and make a floral arrangement for it. You can do that yourself. Put it in there and give her that for her birthday or for Mother's Day. That's always a great option. She could set it out on a table and it would have meaning because you put it together. You could also use containers like this and fill them with their favorite skincare or favorite makeup. That would be fun. Then wrap it up, and not only do they get the present inside, but this could be a great present for them just to sit out just like this. It doesn't have to be decorated up just like that. Other options, if they like salt and pepper shakers, if they collect vases, maybe they like, they're fashionistas. There's a lot of vintage fashion available. You can go to estate sales, you can go to thrift stores and find some. You can find a lot of 70s dresses, 70s tops that they can wear as is, or they could have altered into something they may want. You could also, if they're into vintage, 70s decor maybe, you could get vintage quilts, vintage sheets, curtains, and make some throw pillows for their home. Vintage jewelry is out there like crazy, both 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s, and you can have a blast with it. You can find brooches, you can find earrings, you can find fun bracelets, whatever, you can find it. And it can be whatever style that the person, it doesn't have to be what's available, because there is so much available, you will be able to find that person's style. So those are fun. Now, what if somebody's a fashionista and she likes vintage, but she doesn't want vintage clothing? You can find a ton of repop. Those clothes I found before, you can find on Poshmark, Depop, thread up. You can go to your local thrift stores. Now, something else that you're probably going to find a little weird, but a lot of women think back. So something cool you could do for mom or grandma or anybody is green stamps. They see these and they get nostalgic because they used to collect these at grocery stores, and then they could buy so many once they got their little books full. And I have full books, but I couldn't find them. But these are some pages out of a book. You could make a card out of these that they would just love. You could frame these, make art out of them. So that's an idea as for a gift. Vintage crafts, especially if somebody loves to do needlepoint or needlework anyway, a vintage craft is amazing. Guys, another great gift is if someone loves to entertain themselves and they're always hosting, something like a vintage cheese board or a vintage charcuterie board. How cute! And you can find these too anywhere. And lastly, it doesn't just have to be, more on the feminine side. You can make a masculine gift as well. This is a vintage cricket bucket. And you could definitely turn this into a type of lighting, maybe, or a flower vase, a type of, tools for hammers and things. Just use your imagination. So guys, this is some ideas how you can work vintage or repop into your celebrations and your gift giving. I hope you liked our video today. If you did, be sure and give it a thumbs up. Also, don't forget, hit that subscribe button with that little bell and click all so you don't miss any videos. Next Friday is Cooking Vintage episode 4, and we are doing smothered pork chops. You don't want to miss out. It's going to be delicious. I will be posting a video on Instagram of the ingredients you'll need if you want to cook along with us. Guys, thanks for being here today. Take care. Bye-bye.